What happens when two of DeFi's most influential developers join forces to build the industry's worst kept secret? Daniele Sestagalli and Cronje are planning to launch a project this month which combines the tokenomics of Curve and Olympous DAO. The distribution of this token is quite unique. The top 20 projects by TVL on Fantom will be awarded an NFT to do with as they please. The holder of these NFTs will receive a continuous distribution of the VE33 token. The idea is that the Fantom protocols can then distribute these tokens out to users, incentivizing liquidity across the entire Fantom ecosystem. Enter veDAO, a decentralized autonomous organization with a sole purpose of locking up enough funds to reach the top 20 to receive one of these NFTs. The DAO would then go on to govern the value accrued from their holding. If VE33 can combine Curve and Olympous DAO tokenomics, perhaps veDAO can go on to become the Convex of the Fantom ecosystem. My name is James Bacchini, and on this channel I explore new and emerging technologies in the DeFi space. I'm not a financial advisor, this is not financial advice. So let's dive into this. veDAO, I first heard about it on Twitter. It launched about 16 hours ago, and it's already accrued nearly 600 million in TVL, which is quite incredible really. The current token price of the WEVE token is 10 cents. And liquidity is $1 million they got a MIM weave pool. If we go back to the Twitter profile, there's also a white paper here, which discusses the Medium post from Cronje about the top 20 Fantom teams being distributed this NFT, which is then going to provide a distribution mechanism for the VE33 token. It states that this is a fair launch, which is kind of stretching the definition of fair launch, I think. There was a 10% of the total token supply is being allocated to information token DAO, which are the developers, and then 5% would be allocated to the veDAO and held in a multi-signature wallet. If we scroll down the tweets, there was something about the multi-signature wallet. It had some of the signers on it, which I assume are involved in the project. Here you go, the usual risk apply. The multi-sig is controlled by these for users. FTM Alert is probably a community member. So out of the four multi-signature signees, only Hamora and gabbleghoul.eth are the ones to mention the actual token on their Twitter feeds. They're both anonymous accounts as well, which obviously understand why developers want to stay anonymous, but from an investment point of view, it's a risk to be aware of. We have three contracts we can look at here. We have a token contract, a master chef contract, and a liquidity pool contract. I'll come back to those in a second. Let's have a jump into the farms and see how this works. So what they're basically trying to do is increase the TVL that they're holding as much as possible. They want as many people as deposit funds into their liquidity pools so they can raise up the TVL ranks and get one of these NFT tokens. Obviously there's 20 going and they're currently in 6th place. So it seems likely, as long as a snapshot hasn't already been taken, that they're going to get one of these NFTs. And if you want a distribution of the WEVE token, which is the governance token for veDAO, then you have to provide liquidity to one of these pools. So what do we know about this VE33 project so far? Well, we believe it's going to have an automated market maker. This is like a decentralized exchange. That's either going to be a fork of Uniswap v2 or it's going to be compatible with that existing code. This means that DEX integrators can use it, and also users on the Fantom ecosystem can go and swap one token for another. The transaction fees on this AMM are very low, and that indicates that maybe it's going to be more targeted towards stablecoin swaps, similar to Curve. The distribution of the VE33 token to the top 20 projects by TVL suggests that all of these projects can then further incentivize liquidity on their protocols by offering this governance token to their users. If someone provides liquidity to Spirit Swap, then they're likely to get Spirit Swap rewards and transaction fees, but they're also going to be further incentivized by this distribution of the VE33 token. Potentially, there's no guarantees of that. There's nothing forcing them to give that VE33 token out. It's really at the discretion of the project developers themselves. And that's one factor when veDAO does have a benefit. They're really focused on the VE33 token, and they could maybe add more things later on to try and incentivize further lockups of the VE33 token to kind of incentivize it with their own governance token and then kind of become a black hole for the liquidity of the governance token in a similar way to Convex has become for Curve Finance. This is all, of course, very speculative. The project hasn't even been live for a day yet. The TVL is going up very fast. It's gone up another 100 million since I started making this video. But the price of the token is going down. This is a farm token, remember. So to allocate capital to that farm token or a liquidity pool with that farm token in it or have any exposure at all to it is very speculative. Also bear in mind that the smart contracts aren't audited. I used multi-chain to bridge some assets across from Binance Smart Chain to the Fantom blockchain. I moved USDC, and then once that arrived, I realized I'd made the rookie error of actually not having any governance tokens. I need some FTM to pay for the transaction fees. So I went on to Binance and purchased these from Binance, withdrew them from there. If we head over to SpookySwap, which were the leading DEX on Fantom, I'm going to change my USDC for Yearn Finance. Just going to roughly check the price of that, make sure it's okay. And then I'll go ahead and make that swap. Let's approve the spend and confirm that transaction. So we've swapped our US dollar circle for the Yearn Finance governance token. Yearn is the original project which made Cronje very famous. If we go back to veDAO now, we can select the Yearn Finance pool, approve Yearn Finance, and then we can add maximum available, and that transaction has been confirmed. So we're now earning WEVE tokens on our staked holdings. If we take a look at some of the pools, let me zoom out here. And this one is special. If we go to Medium post, it gives us some information about this. So we've got two asset pools. We've got the Spirit Swap WEVE MIM LP tool, and then the FTM USDC MIM Yearn Finance Frax pool. So I believe that all of these pools together will earn the same amount as the rewards in this pool, making the WEVE token even more valuable because you need 50% of that staked to get into that LP pool. Another way that you could do this if you wanted to take a more speculative position, let's withdraw these funds. We could swap our Yearn Finance for MIM, Magic Internet Money, which is a US dollar stable coin. So I don't need to use SpookySwap, I should be using Spirit Swap for this. I want to change 50% of my MIM tokens for the WEVE veDAO governance token, which is this. You can see the kind of risk you're taking. If you'd purchased this at 11 PM last night, you'd be sitting on a significant loss. It's gone from peaked at around 0.45, and it's now trading at 0.1 US dollars. If you're doing this strategy where you're taking a position in the WEVE token, that's a significant amount of your liquidity. Okay, that's transactions confirmed. So we can now add liquidity to that same pool. Liquidity has been provided. Now we can go back to veDAO. Let's go to farms. We can go to the liquidity pool farms. Let's approve the spend of the liquidity provided tokens. When we provide liquidity, we get an ERC20 token to represent our position in that liquidity pool. And we're now going to stake that liquidity provided token on the veDAO website to earn more WEVE. Because this liquidity pool gets a lot more rewards and there's not many WEVE tokens out there at the moment, it means that this is a much more speculative investment because you have exposure to the WEVE token itself, but it's also got much more upside because you're getting more WEVE and you've also got that exposure from the pool itself. So there we go, that's gone through, and we can see now we're staking our liquidity provider tokens and we're earning governance tokens as a reward. We have a lot of exposure here to the governance token. This is a much more speculative way of taking a position in this. The veDAO token looks like a pretty standard ERC20. The owner address is 0x. They've renounced the ownership. There is a mint function there. I don't know if one of the LP contracts might be able to mint future tokens. We'll take a look at that in a second. Now let's have a look at this contract. This is for the MasterChef contract. I'm going to pull this out. Let's put it into a text editor. Control K, Control 2. I'll just close up all the functions so we can have a read through it a little bit easier. So it's a fairly standard contract. We've got a deposit and withdrawal functions. If you want to deposit, we just need the pool ID or the pool identifier as the PID variable and the amount we want to send or receive. All looks pretty standard there. Let's finally go on to the liquidity pool itself. And then this one, finally, I think this is the one that's part of Spirit Swap. And it's a direct clone of Pancake Swap. This is the VE MIM pool. We've got over $1 million worth of both tokens in there now. And this is something that I believe they've set up with a factory contract on Spirit Swap. And most likely it's a very common contract which has been copied 1 million times from Pancake Swap. If I was going to put money into this, I'd probably still double check that that's a direct replica using a diff analyzer. So there we have it, that's how this works. We've got a governance token, we've got a staking pool, and we've got a liquidity pool via a third-party decentralized exchange. So how does all this play out? Well, I think that VE33, when it launches, is going to bring a lot of attention to the Fantom ecosystem. There's going to be a lot of people competing for them VE33 rewards, either directly via something like veDAO, or indirectly via providing liquidity to other Fantom ecosystem liquidity pools. It's going to be interesting to see how each project handles their distribution of the VE33 token and how they can use that to further incentivize the growth of not only their protocol, but the Fantom ecosystem as a whole. I think there's potentially 3 ways that you can play the veDAO opportunity. You can either ape in and buy some governance tokens and provide that with MIM to the liquidity pool to earn more governance tokens. That's the highest risk because you've got the most exposure to the WEVE token itself, which is a farm token. You're also earning a lot of tokens on the back end. You could also provide stablecoin liquidity. A lot of people are sitting on a lot of stablecoins right now. And then you could look at it all as almost like a yield farming opportunity. If you're going to do that with any significant amount of funds, I think it'd be worth looking more into who the people are behind this project and just double checking them smart contracts to make sure they're safe. And the third way to play it is, of course, just to let the opportunity pass and see what it looks like in a couple of weeks' time. There's a lot of FOMO driving the markets here, and it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. There could be particular high spikes and low spikes. We've seen with Olympous DAO recently, there's been a complete collapse in liquidity on that protocol, and this is somewhat based on that same tokenomics. There might be a better opportunity in the future to kind of take a position in this if you want to. I hope you found this informative. If you want to stay up to date with the latest going-ons in decentralized finance, then consider subscribing to the channel. Please hit the like button for the YouTube algorithm, and thank you for watching to the end.